Are we ready?
Yeah!
You can't get too close to Lexx. To let you know, she has her own energy and she will protect it by any means necessary.
Amen.
That's what I respect about her. So please, everybody, I want to slow to a high, to a blow-up clap of one of the best poets you will hear. Her starting run was phenomenal. She changed the game. She turned me, Mr. Mike, she turned me into Pepe. Oh, still mad at that. She turned me into Scotty. I'm supposed to be Mike out here. Clap it up for one of the greatest, for the person who came and became the true rookie of the year 2023. Give it up for Lexx Unapologetically.
How y'all feeling today? All right. So I wasn't sure where to start with this, but since he mentioned the poem, I might as well get into it. And it's just me talking about my healing journey, but using one of my favorite things in the world, which is basketball. It's called Sparring with Spalding. No better addiction. The first step is admitting. And the second step is finding hope, and that's where I stopped. I just didn't want to be traveling on this journey of healing. Skipping steps always caused me to harden my heart to this cold, cruel world, but I'd be damned if I let them dim my light or cause me to barely coast through life, because coast to coast, Miami to Phoenix, the sun will still shine, heating up my world, even after the storm, through thunder and lightning striking, sparking this fire inside me, blazing a trail for this warrior. They say there is no I in team, but if a damn sure isn't I in Lexx Unapologetically, and so I stand before you as me, trying to handle things as best I can, but I am no Kyrie, and no matter how well I perform, no matter how many people think I may be one of one, I can sell ticks and pack out every show, but that doesn't mean I won't get called foul for walking in my truth, and it bothers me. The fact that I gotta carry this weight all because I flipped my hand over. Wasn't looking for a hand out, just simply trying to put my hand up to block out the negativity. Guess I was too close to my goal. Guess tending to me was the wrong call, like reaching in so deep, trying to figure out what my life actually means and who I actually be, because no amount of AI can change who I see when I look in the mirror. Making sure to tie my shoes before I take each large step, as not to be tripping over myself, because they say the first step is always the hardest. And once I take that step, it's time to play. I gotta keep going. Don't drop the ball, but keep moving. Make sure my feet keep moving. Make sure I'm in control. Just keep moving, because once I stop, that's when they're going to come for me, when they're going to come to me, when I feel the presence of others around me, but have to remember that just because they're on my side doesn't mean they're on my team. Left screen. Let me scream as loud as I can. Show you what I can do with this ball in my hands. This is my court. They want to see how fast I can break. Gotta let them know it won't be an easy take. Get Iggy with them. Show them what these hands could do as I craft a miracle magic to a wizard. What's a king to a god? What's a god to a non-believer? Believing in myself is the hardest game I've ever tried to play. And it's been rough, which is to say that it's me against the world, me against any and everybody who thinks they can come and try to take from me what's rightfully mine. They say you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Guess I'll be running up my FGA, because I'm going to keep shooting my shot anyway. And when I'm on one, hitting a my player on this mic, got to be more like Mike, keep lacing up myself and betting on myself while pacing myself and simultaneously hawking down this healed version of myself who will look at her own reflection and finally see all that is good, all that is perfectly imperfect, as she continues to move through life just trying to find her purpose, breaking out of bounds and barriers that no longer serve her, bouncing back time after time out of sync with herself, but nonetheless, getting and being her own rebound, making sure that every shot counts all the way up until the final buzzer, and that's game. Thank you. So yeah, I definitely wrote that the day of the award show. I didn't memorize it the same day, but it did get memorized pretty quickly. But yeah, that's just talking about my healing journey. I feel like one of my newer greatest hits also talks about healing. And I came to me when I was listening to the song, it'd be like, that's my treacherous little twin, and you know that we locked in, and I love you like my kin, it's whatever for you. I'll go up and down that road, I'll go anywhere you go. When you tell me life is good, I want. It's a little known fact that I have a twin. My father carried her a single seed before planting her into my mother's garden of a womb, where that seed split in two, thus marking my genesis. I guess you can say I came from her, that she and our parents worked together to make me, that we come from these two earthquakes of people. And maybe it's their fault our foundation has so many cracks, because we were carefully carried side by side like serving plates since the beginning of time, until my mother dropped us into this world. We came crashing down, kicking and screaming, gravity ripping us from the warmth of the garden we used to live in, missing the rhythmic rhythm of our mother's heartbeat. My twin was birthed first, and I shortly after. She and I are the only remnants of what our parents formerly shared. The latter, we grew up together, attached to both the hip and the heart, as most twins do. Far too risky to tear us apart, conjoined, but not in a literal sense. She was there with me and for me literally since before I could remember, but for some reason, somehow, our parents treated our birthday as if it was the worst date they'd ever shared. Sometimes they had trouble telling us apart, called me by her name almost daily. I guess sometimes they would just get us confused. As new parents of twins tend to do, but they should have tended to her just a little bit better. Maybe spent some time actually trying to understand her, but instead they presented her to me as if she were a gift, almost as if they knew they would leave me to figure out life alone, and maybe thought I needed company so I'd never be left home alone. My parents left my twin and I to raise each other. And with her being here first to me, that she is my elder, my twin, which, by the way, her name is Trauma. And she raised me as if my parents had given me up for adoption. My parents birthed Trauma, raised it right beside me like a sibling, deemed us both identical. My twin and I come from the same womb, but not from the same womb, just from two people who bled on each other. Because hurt people do hurt people, then get with other hurt people to go on and birth people that continue to hurt people. So Trauma hurt me. I grew up being violated by the very first thing my parents ever gave me. And so I vowed to do everything I can if I'm able to make sure that I don't have a twin anymore. Trauma's blood is all over my hands. I'm on the run, but sometimes I can't even stand the thought of continuing life without her. Sometimes I miss her, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't wish her never to have existed in the first place, or maybe never to have made it to my birthday, because if my parents had gone on their first date knowing the magnitude of the earthquake, then maybe they would have known to secure all of their cherished belongings. Maybe right now I wouldn't stand here and be longing for the only one who was there through it all. It's a little known fact that I used to have a twin. My father, my mother, my parents planted her into the garden of my mind. But I chose to do the work and grow, and so, as the seasons have passed with the time, all I really have left of her is memories. Constant reminders to spit out the seeds, but also to make sure that they never land in any place that's fertile. Boom. Thank you. So kind of right off the heels of writing this one, I was thinking about how real that poem was to me and how trauma really did start with my parents and get passed on to me. And then I tried to talk to them about it and it didn't really go too well. So then I wrote this next piece. It's called Apparent Leaves a Lot Behind. Have you ever thought about how nursing homes are filled with old people who never truly healed, or at least not enough to be someone that children wanted to help take care of? It's almost like during their better years, they don't take care of their homes. And then when they get old, they expect us to make them home and then take them home until God takes them home. And I know, I don't yet have any children of my own. But I just can't imagine having children then still dying alone. We ain't got time on our sides. I mean, I get that Father Time got wings on his. But why do I feel like he will only be a parent to my parents when they're in line about to get fitted for theirs? Is it the daunting thought of dragging baggage as they ascend the pearly white stairs? Seems like they'd rather spend years stuffing it with stuff like heartache and stuff just to leave it here. It's like before they leave us here, they'd rather leave us broken just so their souls don't rest in pieces. I mean, Jesus. It's said to have loved them so much that he died for his children. So why is it that my parents might have to be dying before their children's eyes, or possibly on the brink of their own demise before they come to see all of the scars that are left behind from when they crucified me? I worry that it won't be until they're about to cross to the other side that they'll finally come to realize how many times they crossed me. Or how choosing not to heal their own wounds caused them to share more than just their blood with me, reckoning their suffering communicable disease, while lack of healthy communication causes something as common as community to quickly become communion, as I take their bodies, which was broken for me, like most of the promises they made while projecting their trauma onto me, turning their death into a group project that I never asked to see. Like alone play a part in, because there's always someone who doesn't want to play their part, and a part of me wants to be apologetic at times, like, pardon me, please, but I come in peace with these outstretched hands, yet somehow still praying to my parents that they'll forgive me for whatever it is that I did that made them treat me in a way that I gotta question if they hate me. Because they adorn me with a crown thorn with resentment, sending bloody drips of anger dripping down my face as they left me hanging on by thread of hope, because they couldn't swallow their pride and instead proceeded to choke, refuse to bite the bullet, but somehow still coughed up gun smoke mixed with affliction, which seemed to be bitter, because now their triggers and transgressions from never learning their lessons has me feeling less than whole. And so sometimes my soul be broken, but yet my spirit be holy, like a shot through a wine glass. And so I ask, why is it that my parents might not even want to spill their truths into the very last call dialed, into all of the things that happen in other people's homes, but not into the feelings of their very own children? I pray that my parents don't wait until God calls them home before they finally decide to answer the call of accountability. I pray that dropping these bars doesn't ruin our connection, but instead makes more clear the validity. I pray that they can hear me now. Wow, they're still alive, but it's like they can't stand the thought, but nor do they want to lie in the bed that they made. So I truly fear that they find their deathbeds to be a much more comfortable place to finally say what needs to be said, because what happens in a deathbed stays with those who outlive its resident. But dying wishes from relatives over time will lose its relevance, because dying wishes and relatives never seem to age too well, just like the bed sores being tended to by the tender-hearted children who attempted to tell their parents that all they wanted was for them to acknowledge the part they played in their hurt, before the gap of social distance meant 6 feet beneath the dirt. Poem. So thank y'all for tuning in to me and my life story or whatever. I'm still be outside. Last year, rookie year, kind of took it over a little bit or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna keep going this year, and I appreciate the support from everyone that's been supporting me thus far. Thank y'all.